Hi and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how I painted this Hypericum bush with a comma butterfly in Procreate. This is the reference photo of the Hypericum, or St John's wort, which I took in my own back garden. I started by tracing round a part of the plant and berries. I wasn't going to try and do the whole thing, so I just did one part of it, or one bunch of leaves and berries. I used the dark green background for this part of the painting to give me a better way of judging what tones of green I was using to see how they come out. If I used a white background, the greens would have looked totally different. For brushes, I painted each leaf in using, from the inking range, I used the studio brush and painted each leaf firstly in a base. I always do a mid-tone first on the basic leaf with the studio brush from the inking range. Then I put in the veins with the fine tip brush from the inking range, and then I use a grunge brush first with a darker green and then with a lighter green to put in the highlights, and that way we get realistic looking leaves. Once I've done all the leaves that are in this bunch, I then went over to do the berries and the bracts that go round the bottom of the berry. So the first thing I did was put 3 leaves in around the bottom of one of the berries with a lightish colour. I put a red tip on as it showed in the reference photo, and then I put in the berry, basic shape of a berry, a basic red colour with a studio brush, and then again using the grunge brush I used a lighter green on the bottom of the berry, and then put a dimple in the top with the same green, and then put a white highlight on the side to make it look as if the sun is shining on it. With the berries, I also use a lighter red on the left hand side of the berry where the light's coming from, and a darker red on the right hand side so that that side is in shadow, and that gives each berry the look of roundness. Everything is going well so far, and having done 2 berries and 2 sets of leaves, and knowing that they work, I then decide to do another berry and set of leaves on a separate layer. And the reason for that is because if you've seen my videos before, you know that I like to take the easy way out and do it as simple as possible, because it's always the final image that I'm bothered about, not how difficult or easy it was to get there. So I've done the 3rd berry and leaves on a separate layer. Now all I have to do is duplicate the layer and move each berry and set of leaves into the position I want it in. You'll notice now that there are gaps beneath the berries, so I close off those layers and rebuild the leaf underneath to take away all those gaps. And once I've done that, I can then turn on the other berries and the job's done. The next thing I do is just do a bit of a simple background using various brushes and colours to make something that looks a little bit interesting. It doesn't matter that much because all the leaves and berries are going to be over the top of it anyhow. It's just to stop it being a plain, boring, dark green background and make it look a little bit more realistic. You can see that I'm now populating the whole of the picture by duplicating the original leaves that I drew, and some leaves go on the top of the others. I modify some of the leaves, some of them I distort or warp with those tools. Now you can see I'm putting in some of the stalks between the bunches of leaves. This helps with giving the illusion of depth in the painting. You can see I put a dark red in with a studio brush, and down the left hand side, which is supposedly catching the light, I've put a lighter olive green, and then on the right hand side I've done the same with same brush and used a darker red, and this gives it that cylindrical stalky look. Some go behind the leaves and some go in front, and that gives you that feeling of depth as if you're looking into the painting. I've also gone round and put in a few shadows here and there, and I'll do a bit more of that later just to give it that 3D look. Right, so now it's time to get on with the Cumber butterfly. Here is the reference photo that I used. I only need to use half of it, so I've traced round it and then put in a basic orange colour, sort of a mid-tone, with again with the studio brush. Once I've done that, I pick a lighter tone, and using the grunge brush from the textured range, I put in a lighter orange, and then I start to put in all of the patterns. I start off with a dark burnt orange, and then I go round and round trying to follow the patterns on the photograph as much as possible, and it's about using various shades of colour, following the reference photo, blacks, and just generally filling it in roughly as you think it should be, and it's quite enjoyable. You can see now I've put a couple of veins in for the wings. Those are done with the fine tip brush from the inking range. I put a lighter yellow colour in first, and then I'll put a darker colour next to it, another line following it, to give it a bit of a drop shadow look. Once I've done that, then I go round. I've gone round the edges, and you can see I'm filling in now. These are done with the burnt tree brush from the charcoal range, and I find it very good at putting in random spots, like you would have on a butterfly, especially the white edges around the top of the wing and around the edges of the wing. Okay, so now it's time to tackle the centre of the butterfly. I use studio brush with dark brown, and then put some of the lines in using the burnt tree brush from the charcoal range. I use a lighter colour, and then I do the centre of the butterfly. From the centre of the butterfly, I use the fine tip brush to put in a lot of airs, lines, fine lines that look like airs, and I build up a bit of form on the butterfly. Because I've done this butterfly wing on a separate layer, I am now able to duplicate that layer and flip it and line it up with the other butterfly wing, so I finish up with a whole butterfly, and you'll see that happen in a second. Once I've done that, the only thing I have to do is tidy up the centre a bit so as it doesn't look as if there's a line down the middle, and I have a whole butterfly. So now with the butterfly done, it's just a matter of placing it. I resize it to roughly the size I want it, and then drop it into the painting, and you can see that when you look at it, it is underneath a couple of the berries, and that's to give it a look as if it's in the bush, not just plonked on top of the brush. I do that by cutting out the berries, free form selection, and then put the butterfly on, and then put those back on top, and that makes it look as if the butterfly is actually in the painting. I then go around putting in shadows underneath the butterfly, and combine all the layers. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe. There'll be another one along soon.